Everybody, it is Mike, 55 years young. Welcome to my video on dangerous fruits. Yes, I eat a lot of fruits. We at aPlantBasedDiet.org recommend eating fruits. It's so much easier than, trying to adhere to the 6 pillars of healthy vegan food, which you can find more information about at healthyveganfood.info. But let's get right into this. We're gonna name what I think are the top 5 of dangerous, poisonous fruits that actually I would say just don't bother eating. And I'm going to stick to the ones that are more common because there are more than that in this video that I'm going to be kind of commenting on and playing as we go. Actually lists out 12. And I'd say that it's probably more like an AI generated video is what this one is. So I don't know how legit it is, but I'll link it down below so you can go and watch the whole thing if you want. But we're going to stick to the top 5. And if you probably already saw from the title, the top 5 are elderberries, pawpaw, soursop, starfruit, and cassava flower. Not just the cassava, which is a root vegetable, but the flower on top. And stay for the end because we're going to talk about fruit ripeness. And the last one that I'm going to name, which is not in the top 5, it's going to surprise you. And, so stay for that. All right, so let's get into it. First of all, why would I say a fruit would be poisonous or a fruit would be, you know, um, dangerous or you just shouldn't eat it? Okay, now there's going to be 2 reasons for that. It's either going to contain cyogenic glycoside, cyogenic glycoside, which means it's going to poison you with cyanide, actually quickly. That's the problem, okay? A tiny amount of cyanide you could probably handle, but not quickly. Or it's got a neurotoxin. One of the two. The neurotoxin is either going to affect your brain directly and/or actually your kidneys, as you'll see, or it may just hinder or your mitochondria. It'll cause mitochondrial dysfunction, which if you want to know what that is, I'm going to also link that down below. You can find that in the channel that I have or the playlist that I have with Dr. Peter Rogers, where we talk a lot about those kinds of things. So that's what it's going to be. Now, to kind of give you a little primer here so you can kind of follow as we go along. So I'm going to keep this as simple as possible. A lot of times these videos are complicated. I just want you to remember, don't eat elderberries, don't eat pawpaw, don't eat soursop, don't eat starfruit, don't eat cassava. Just flowers, cassava flowers. I'm sorry. It's just that cassava is kind of common, so I want to throw that in there. Even if you like the vegetable, the root vegetable, don't eat the flowers. All right, so the ones that are going to poison you with cyanide are elderberries, cassava flowers, and bitter almonds. That's another one. Almond, believe it or not, is a flower. I'm sorry, not a flower, a fruit. It's not a nut, it's a fruit. So sweet almonds is what's used to make almond milk. And the bitter ones, which you don't want to have anything to do with, they will poison you with cyanide. Now, the neurotoxin ones are pawpaws and soursop, which is related to pawpaws, and starfruit. Those are the ones that will poison you with neurotoxins. And then one thing before we start here, I want to mention durian, which they mentioned in this 12 video one, and that's linked down below. Durian isn't a problem unless you drink alcohol with it. And apparently, if you drink alcohol with durian, then you run into some problems where your body cannot process the alcohol because of the durian. And you shouldn't be drinking alcohol anyway. If you know about the 6 pillars of healthy vegan food, one of them is 0 alcohol. So you shouldn't have a problem. But so the bitter almonds is kind of weird. This is the only time I'm going to touch on it. And the durian's kind of weird. So let's learn about elderberries.
Number 3. Elderberries. Elderberries, while often hailed for their immune-boosting properties, can be surprisingly hazardous when consumed raw or unripe.
Okay. Raw or unripe. Like I said, I'm going to mention something about fruit ripeness here at the end, something that applies to all people eating fruits. But the problem with elderberries is you can't eat them raw. When you have the problems that we discussed, which are which is cyanide poisoning. I believe it's cyanide. Wait, is it cyanide poisoning? Let me get my list here. Yes, it's cyanide poisoning. It's because of raw elderberries. But what kind of fruit do you want to cook? I mean, really? And so that should be a red flag, right there that you have to cook a fruit.
Due to their cyanogenic glycosides, these compounds, once ingested, break down into cyanide, a potent toxin capable of interfering with cellular respiration. Essentially, cyanide binds to cytochrome oxidase in the mitochondria, halting the production of ATP, which is your body's energy currency, and
Okay, so as you can see from this video, they are admitting that it's a mitochondrial inhibitor. Anything that inhibits your mitochondria is a problem for your health. And so many things do, so many habits do, so many other foods do. But the last thing you want is a fruit, okay? Because we say that raw is better, whole is better, the whole plant's better, more close to nature, as close to nature as possible. And then we tell you about elderberry, which you cannot even eat raw. All right, so just stay away from it.
causing a cascade of
And I would say stay away in the cooked form too. Just anything you're going to get, any kind of benefit you're going to get from the elderberry is not required for health optimization. And you get the most benefits from taking away your worst habits. You don't want some berry that could potentially kill you trying to make up for your bad habits.
toxic effects. A 2018 study published in the Journal of Food Science and Technology investigated the risks of raw elderberry consumption. Researchers from the University of Vienna analyzed the cyanogenic potential of unripe berries by simulating human digestion in vitro. They found that raw elderberries contained glycoside levels capable of releasing up to 150 milligrams of hydrogen cyanide per kilogram of fruit, a dose that could cause mild poisoning in about 30% of adults and severe toxicity in 50% of children within the study group's metabolic models. The team then tested the effects of cooking elderberries for different durations and discovered that boiling for just 15 minutes reduced the glycoside concentration by
Reduced.
97%,
Oh,
rendering
97.
the
Okay.
berries safe for consumption. These findings highlight the importance of proper preparation, as the raw or improperly cooked fruit could lead to symptoms ranging from nausea and vomiting to dizziness and, in rare cases, respiratory distress. Number 4. Soursop. Soursop.
Okay, they call it Soursop, and I call it Soursop, but I think you know what we're talking about here. And this is very closely related to PawPaw. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video is because Dr. Michael Greger just came up with a video saying, do not eat PawPaw. And there's PawPaw festivals around where I am right now in Northern Virginia. I've had people, saying how great PawPaw is. And I come to realize that you shouldn't eat it. Just like elderberries, don't eat this PawPaw or Soursop, and they're related. I don't know why PawPaw is not mentioned in this particular video, but it's not. But just keep in mind, it's very, very similar.
Also known as graviola or guanabana, is a tropical fruit often celebrated for its creamy texture and health.
Okay, this is a tropical fruit, so the PawPaw version is kind of like the northern fruit version, or the non-tropical fruit if you're in the southern hemisphere.
Claims. But there's a darker side to this spiky green fruit. The danger lies in compounds called ananaceous astaginins, which are natural neurotoxins. These
The
compounds,
neurotoxin.
particularly one called ananicin, can cross the blood, brain barrier, and damage nerve
Sounds
cells,
like an AI channel,
leading to
doesn't it?
potential neurodegenerative effects. A groundbreaking study published in 2002 in the journal Movement Disorders examined the link between ananicin and atypical Parkinsonism. Researchers from the French West Indies found that consuming large amounts of soursop was linked to a significantly higher incidence of a Parkinson's-like condition called Guadeloupean Parkinsonism. The researchers conducted a case control study, analyzing dietary habits of participants in Guadeloupe.
I want to mention that, yeah, it mimics Parkinson's, which is a big deal these days, bigger than ever, unfortunately. And I even saw something recently about the Parkinson's belt, which is kind of like more in the Rust Belt of the US, if you're familiar with that is on a map. And they're thinking, oh, maybe it's industrial chemicals from factories and things like that. Well, it could be the prevalence of native growing pawpaws in this region, because that's generally where you find them. And I didn't really think about that till I was preparing for this video and realizing that there may be a connection there. So, if you know anything about that, please let me know in the comments. And definitely, I want to make sure I remind you all to share this with anybody that can benefit, which is anybody that eats fruit.
Guadeloupe. Their findings revealed that individuals who consumed soursop daily had up to a 70% increased risk of developing Parkinsonism, like symptoms compared to those who rarely or never consumed it.
Okay, and this is true for pawpaw as well. Remember, this is because soursop is the tropical version of pawpaw.
Further experiments in the lab demonstrated that ananasin caused damage to brain cells in the substantia nigra, the same area affected in Parkinson's disease. The neurotoxicity was dose-dependent, meaning the more ananasin consumed, the greater the damage.
Yeah, and we're always talking about eating lots of fruit, eat lots of fruit, eat more fruit. So I need to make this video because if it's dose dependent, if you're eating any of this and you're trying to optimize your health, you're going to want to eat more of it, and you probably will eat more of it than you normally would, maybe your body would want to. And that's a super bad thing here, as you can see.
Too much of a good thing, especially in the case of Soursop, can have serious consequences. Number 5. Pokeweed berries.
And we're not going to do this one because, like I said, I think it's something that most people aren't familiar with or don't get. So we are going to scroll down here and go over to number 7, which should be starfruit.
Number 7. Starfruit. Starfruit may look like a bright, tropical delight, but for people with kidney disease, it's a stealthy saboteur with the potential to wreak serious havoc. This seemingly harmless
Remember, I was mentioning that this is going to be a neurotoxin, I believe, and also it has issues with the kidneys in addition to that. So I'm not exactly 100% sure if it's truly a mitochondrial inhibitor like the Soursop and PawPaw are, but on this one, you know, it's going to have kidney problems. But regardless, don't eat it. It's not worth it. Okay, I want you to have the best health possible, and these things they're too particular.
fruit is packed with oxalates, which can accumulate in the bloodstream when kidneys aren't functioning properly. Starfruit also contains neurotoxins that can directly affect the brain. A study published in the journal Nephrology Dialysis Transplantation in 2010 by researchers in Brazil highlighted just how dangerous this fruit can be. The team conducted an experiment involving 32 patients with chronic kidney disease, analyzing their reactions to starfruit consumption. But they hold a secret that could be seriously dangerous.
Oh,
Inside these small reactions to starfruit consumption,
sorry about that.
participants were split into 2 groups. One consumed 50 milliliters of starfruit juice, while the other group avoided it entirely. In the exposed group, 78% experienced acute neurotoxic symptoms like hiccups, confusion, and seizures within hours. The
Wow.
neurotoxins in starfruit bypass the damaged filtration system of chronic kidney disease patients, traveling directly to the bloodstream and eventually reaching the brain. In severe
Not good.
cases, it can lead to coma or death. But don't panic just yet if your kidneys are healthy. For most people, the body filters out these compounds without breaking a sweat.
For most
However,
people.
the study's findings emphasize why anyone with compromised kidney function should steer clear of starfruit altogether. Number 8.
Okay, this is a surprise coming in here. If you were paying attention, you saw that I skipped ahead to this automatically or by accident. Sorry. And it's cherry pits. Cherry pits are the poison part, the cyanide part. It's another cyanide issue of poisoning you with cyanide. So don't even think about this. Don't even scratch them or whatnot. Don't break them open by accident. Don't kind of gnaw into them by accident because they have cyanide in them. And I know my wife Denise loves cherries, the sweet cherries, and we at Mountain Ridge Farm are growing regenerative chemical-free cherries. But now that I know this, we got to be careful. And I'm even wondering about putting in the compost, but I don't think that has anything to do with anything because it's not being eaten. And keep in mind another factor here. A lot of these things that are harming humans here that you see cyanide, right? Mitochondrial inhibitors. You know what these are? These are actually natural insecticides that these fruits have. And they try to keep away pests so you don't have to use chemicals on them. But some of them just have such a degree of this that it's not suitable for humans. And that's why I'm bringing this up. So cherries are okay. You just got to watch the cherry pits. And a similar thing could be said about the cocoa bean, or not, or I'm sorry, the coffee bean. Probably the cocoa bean too, a little bit, but definitely the coffee bean. It's thought that the caffeine in there is also a natural insecticide, and it creates a fight or flight situation, which is why it peps you up as a human, because if you were a little bug, it would kill you. But if you're a human, it just peps you up. So you get into the fight mode. And There's a lot of questions as to whether that's good for you at all, but that's not the subject of this video. Let's learn more about cherry pits.
Cherry pits. Cherry pits might seem harmless, but they hold a secret that could be seriously dangerous. Inside these small, hard seeds lies a compound called amygdalin, which, when metabolized, can release cyanide, a potent poison. As we mentioned earlier, cyanide blocks the body's ability to use oxygen, and even small amounts can lead to headaches, dizziness, and nausea. In extreme cases, it can be fatal. But how exactly does this happen? When you chew or crush the pits, the amygdalin is broken down, releasing cyanide. Now, eating a single pit might not be deadly, but the real danger is in consuming several at once, or worse, repeatedly over time.
And that's what my wife does. She loves cherries. She's gonna eat a ton of cherries. She's got to treat them almost like, remember that game Operation where you can't touch anything or the buzzer goes off? Don't touch these pits. Just get rid of them, put them in your compost pile. Don't suck on them. Don't gnaw on them. Don't cut into them with your teeth or anything else. Please.
Study published in Toxicology and Applied Pharmacology in 2013 by researchers at the University of Florida looked closely at the effects of cherry pit ingestion. The researchers fed rats doses of cyanide equivalent to what a person might ingest from consuming multiple cherry pits. They found that as little as 0.5 grams of amygdalin, roughly the amount in about 10 to 15 pits, caused toxic effects in 90% of the rats, including significant drops
No,
in oxygen
we don't want
levels
that.
and even death in some cases. Though the study was
Now,
conducted on
obviously, humans will
animals,
take more than
it
rats, but
shows just how
still, you get
potent
it.
this natural toxin can be. The findings are
You're still
alarming
there.
when you consider that many
Definitely
people
alarming.
are unaware of the risks these seemingly innocent fruits pose.
There you go. You see that? You see that statement right there? That's why I want you to think of people that you know that eat fruit, which is everyone. And I want you to send them this video, please. Leave me your comments down below and your thoughts, any kind of more information you want to learn about these things. And like I said, I did a bunch of my own research anyway through the LLMs and other things before this video. And that's why I wanted to kind of give you a little concise, short video, because there are other super rare fruits that you'll almost never see that are also on this list. But something like this, I mean, come on. You, this needs to be told to every child, I'd say, as soon as they're coherent, as a toddler.
Especially when consumed in large amounts or when the pits are accidentally crushed or chewed. So, next time you enjoy cherries,
Yeah, like a
be
baby
sure
might
to
or
spit
toddler
out the
might.
pits because they're not just a nuisance, they're packing a dangerous punch. Number 9.
Okay, like lychee, you're not gonna get your hands on that. I doubt it. Right. So, and where's the last one? Last one. This is a surprise. Okay, here it is, number 10.
Number 10. Pineapple.
Pineapple. Okay, our new logo is a pineapple with a human DNA strand going through the middle for health optimization for our travel and our clubs, health optimization cruise, health optimization safari. Go to healthoptimizationtravel.org to learn more. But pineapple, we eat 4 of these a day. So what could possibly be, you know, super bad to where I shouldn't eat a pineapple? And notice this isn't in my list, okay? I would put it in the list if I was suspecting at all. So let's hear what these folks have to say, or this AI bot channel.
Pineapple might seem like a harmless tropical delight, but there's more going on beneath that spiky exterior than you think. Bromelain is an enzyme that breaks down proteins.
And that's good. It's only found in pineapples as far as we know. So it's actually a very good thing, unless
When you eat unripe pineapple, the
oh, unripe pineapple. This is why I'm going to talk about ripe fruits here as soon as we finish up here with pineapple. But unripe fruit is not meant for human consumption. And actually, some of these things that are concerning in some of these plants, they didn't really talk about it too much, but they are in much higher percentages of the fruit itself when they're unripe. And when they do turn ripe, they come down a lot lower or go away altogether. And I think that's what's going on here with the pineapples.
bromelain in its flesh can start breaking down the proteins in your mouth and throat. leading to
Hmm.
irritation, swelling.
How many times have you heard? I've heard it so many times. This is like the where do you get your protein thing for being vegan. Okay, I was like, oh, I got an allergy to pineapples. I can't eat it. No, no, no. I've never known anyone for sure that has an allergy to pineapples. So if you're allergic to any food, don't eat it. We would never encourage you to. But what I do know is that almost everyone out there has never eaten a fresh, whole, ripe pineapple, like fully yellow. Have you ever even seen one at the store? Think about it. Probably not. You need to know the good sources, and if you don't see that and you want to eat pineapples, because pineapple is highly beneficial. Pineapple should not be on this list on this particular video, if you ask me, as long as it's ripe. But you should always eat ripe. And keep in mind, well, we're going to get into I'll get into more ripe things in a minute. But still, you want to know why you're getting that reaction in your mouth? Yeah, I guess it's because of bromelain, but more specifically, it's because the fruit or nature is trying to tell you that you shouldn't be eating this in the state that it's in.
And sometimes a burning sensation.
Oh
This
yeah,
effect is
bleeding for
temporary,
me.
but it can be uncomfortable.
I definitely, my mouth starts to bleed. That's how hypersensitive I am. I'm like the most hypersensitive person alive. We eat about 4 pineapples a day. And believe me, if they weren't ripe and it needs to be near perfectly ripe for me, I would have massive problems, way worse the much, the biggest, most terrible end of the scale that they have.
Bromelain can also be a digestive irritant when consumed in large quantities.
Now, this, if it's bromelain from a fully ripe pineapple, I respectfully disagree with what they're saying here. And yeah, I guess it is going to clear out your digestive system in a way if you're not used to eating a lot of fiber along with a lot of good nutrition. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, but keep in mind, I think that this whatever AI channel produced this is not necessarily a fully plant-based group of whole plants with tons of fiber. Because yeah, you're going to feel some uncomfortableness if you're coming off of that life habit of not eating enough fiber. And excuse me, and suddenly you start eating the proper amount of fiber and or unripe fruit. That combination is not going to go well, at least not temporarily.
Leading to nausea, diarrhea, or stomach cramps. And if you're sensitive to it, even ripe pineapple can cause these issues, though to a lesser extent.
Okay. Even ripe pineapple can, but that's if you're super hypersensitive, and I am. And I will tell you, fully ripe pineapple does not cause that issue. It's only when you eat fruit in that condition where it was not meant for human consumption, aka unripe or not fully ripe, not fully yellow. The other thing you got to know about pineapple is it's one of these fruits that will not ripen. I'll actually give you all a list of that, but it's one of those fruits that will not ripen unless it's ripened on the plant. It cannot and will not ripen. Um, if you see it green in the store, don't even bother. There's no way for that thing to turn yellow.
A 2012 study published in the Journal of Food Science explored the levels of bromelain in pineapples and its effects on human health. Researchers found that the enzyme content is highest in unripe pineapples,
Notice the correlation.
which can cause significant irritation to the mouth and
I believe
digestive
it.
system.
Of
In
course.
the study, 40% of participants
My guess is too in the study that the participants that were supposedly eating ripe pineapple were actually still eating unripe pineapple. It was just closer to ripe than not ripe. Does that make sense? If you understand that, let me know in the comments because this is key to understanding about fruit. It must be fully ripe. It's only fully ripe for a couple of days at max, which is why they don't bring fully ripe fruits to the store. They don't transport well either. Fully ripe fruit bruises so easily. Think about ripe bananas. If you ever tried to carry them in a backpack, like Denise and I have tried to, oh my gosh. Yeah, it's so inconvenient. And like I said, I am willing to bet money that the people in this study were not eating fully ripe pineapples in the group that says they were eating ripe pineapples.
reported feeling a burning sensation after eating unripe pineapple, and around 25% of the group experienced mild gastrointestinal discomfort. The study also revealed that bromelain can be particularly problematic for individuals with sensitive stomachs, as it exacerbates conditions like acid reflux or gastritis.
All right. Guess what I'm going to say here? I'm going to say that unripe pineapple will exacerbate those conditions, acid reflux and gastritis. Unripe pineapple. And you know what? Until I started eating Denise and I started eating 4 ripe pineapples a day in the last few years, I don't know if I ever even had ripe pineapple in my entire life. And as I've said, I think that most people alive have never eaten whole, fresh, ripe pineapple. If you get it from a can or something else, you don't even know what they do to it, okay? Um, to to change it. Or a lot of times, actually, if you let it sit out for a while, even if it's not ripe, this is a cheat code, I guess. I still wouldn't recommend you do this. But if you let it sit out for a while, that those negative things that they're mentioning here from the unripe pineapple will go away or severely mitigate, depending upon how much time has passed since you uh, let it sit out. But you really want to cut it and eat it. It's a living food. It's alive. You really do. But if it's not ripe and you cut it and you still want to eat it, that's a cheat code, I guess.
So, while pineapple is packed with vitamin C and antioxidants, if you've got a sensitive system or you're eating it unripe, it might be time to rethink your snack.
Okay, let's stop right there. If you got a sensitive system or you're eating it unripe, now let's talk about ripe fruits. You already know what not to eat now, right? Elderberry, pawpaw, soursop, cherry pits, bitter almonds. What was the other ones? They're all in the title of this video. Cassava flowers. Remember, the cassava root is fine, but the cassava flowers will also have. Actually, we didn't mention it here in the video, but that has a cyanide effect, the cyanide poisoning effect, and no starfruit. Remember, pawpaws and soursop are the equivalent. One's tropical, one's not, but they do similar things in terms of inhibiting your mitochondria. So let me go to a list first of all, because pineapples are one of those fruits that does not um, ripen after you pick it. So let me go through a list here. So these are things where when you buy them at the market or wherever you buy your fruits, you need to know that it's ripe as you get it. And there's a caveat to this. It's not going to ripen, it will rot. It may, like this bromelain sting, may get less over time if you let it rot and you let it sit out after you cut it. But almost all berries fit into this category. Strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, and cranberries. The way you see them is the way that they are. And they won't pick them until they're ripe because they won't ripen after you pick them. Next category is cherries. Even though cherries, you know about that cherry pit now, right? You know it's going to poison you with cyanide, but cherries they're not going to ripen up anymore. And if you think about it, you know you've never seen this happen before. I don't know why people think that pineapples do, but they don't. Citrus, oranges, lemons, limes, grapefruits, and tangerines. All those things will not ripen. After you pick them, it's done. Grapes, I love grapes. I eat so many grapes. Sweet grapes, organic grapes. They will not ripen. Have you ever seen a grape ripen? No. So you have to pick it ripe. Pineapple is on my list right here. And I'm telling you, I know there's stuff on the internet saying, well, you could turn it upside down. You could do all this other stuff. And no, it doesn't work that way. It will rot to the point where this bromelain that they described in here very accurately won't harm you. All right. Maybe. That's a maybe. And the taste will never be the same. The taste, definitely not. Pomegranates and watermelons. You ever seen a watermelon ripen? No. Okay, it's not going to ripen. It's going to stay the same or it's going to start rotting. That's all that's going to happen. So all of these, you have to pick. There's no ripening process. Now, the other thing you may not have known is there is a ripening process with other fruits that, guess what? The pickers and the producers and the markets use to their advantage. And the reason and how they use to their advantage is that they pick them unripe, because whenever the fruit's unripe, it will travel well. Like green tomatoes, they hardly damage at all. They're almost like tennis balls, right? But if you picked up a red ripe tomato off of a plant, it tastes amazing. Well, that will bruise so easily, just like a real ripe banana, right? So what they do is they pick them unripe and they gas them or adjust gases so that they ripen at the right time, right before they're ready to take on the market to sell them to you. Thing is, they never taste the same way. They never have full nutrition. But these are some of the factors, like I said, because, and the reason why I'm bringing them in here in this video is because with these harmful fruits, right, the dangerous fruits, the poisonous fruits, even they are not as bad for you when they're fully ripe. And everything is not as bad for you when it's fully ripe. The nutrition's better for you when it's fully ripe on the plant, not off the plant. Because the thing is, they use a cheat code for these. It's bananas, avocados, tomatoes, mangoes, peaches, pears, apples, apricots, nectarines, plums, kiwis, papayas, and guavas. All those will taste way better if you can pick them right off the plant, fully ripe. They will ripen afterwards, and all the bananas are picked green, all the tomatoes are picked green. They never taste the same. You probably have never had, I know you've had a tomato. Everyone's always had this red ripe tomatoes, okay? Where you're like, oh, it's so good. I picked it right off the plant. It was fully ripe. If only I could buy it like that. Well, you can't, because that's not the way it's a business. They're set up to make money, and that's not the way they're going to make the most money. Thing is, it's going to impact your health. And that's why I'm making this video too. So I think you got most of it. I will make another video that describes more in depth about ripe fruits, but this is just the basics, just so you have an idea and you have an understanding of why it's important to always get fully ripe fruits. Because if these poisonous fruits are more poisonous when they're not ripe, well, all the other fruits are less beneficial for you when they're not ripe. And also, they don't taste as good. You're not going to want to eat as many of them. That's the thing. So this one, though, like I said, this is the surprise, the pineapple. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, because I never thought they would say that. I mean, really, oh my gosh, I can't believe that they think pineapple is a poisonous food. I'd love to hear from you if you think that, but also search my channel here, our channel, our nonprofit, aPlantBasedDiet.org, or the shortcut is just plantbasedvideos.info. Type in pineapple and aPlantBasedDiet.org. You'll see all the pineapple videos I have. I even have a pineapple masterclass. Actually, I'm going to include that down below too. Thanks for watching to the end. And because of that, you know that down below is my pineapple masterclass video. Pineapple just needs to be fully ripe. Almost all pineapples sold are not even ripe, and they never will be ripe. And that's why this AI channel put that on there. So it does make sense if they're just commenting on reality. But if you want to do the best you can, health optimization, which is what we want to do, you really want to seek this out. And the cheat code for that is talk to your grocers, talk to your produce managers. Say, please, get me some ripe yellow pineapples. And when you do get ripe yellow pineapples, I will buy them all, right? I will buy them all. So for now, top 5 poisonous, dangerous fruits that you should not eat. Just don't eat. Just put this on your list, in your mind. Elderberries, PawPaw, Soursop, Starfruit, and Cassava flowers. Again, I'm only putting that in there because a lot of people might grow their own cassava. Don't eat the flowers. All right, it's Mike. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.